Yeah,
whatever that.
no issues.
Yeah.
We are about to go live. This is Karen with newclevelandradio.net, and it is time for What in the World with Paul Seaburn and his sidekick, John DiNallo. And it's being brought to you by Yes, I Can Coaching with Karen. And so if you want to know more about that, that's in the show notes. And I want everybody to know we all went to rehearsal today.
Yeah, how about
Yes,
that?
that was we're a well-tuned machine, a fine-tuned machine.
We certainly are.
Wow. Again, a low bar for this show, but we'll take it.
Paul, you're
Well,
brutally honest.
there you go. There you go. Wow. Karen Hale, what a great introduction. Thank you so much for that. Yes, indeed. You are tuned in to What in the World with me, your host, Paul Seaburn. What in the world? Real news, sometimes strange, always funny. That's our motto. We are your weekly weird news show. We like to bring you the strange, the unusual, the paranormal, the fun, but always with a funny twist to it. That's our goal. The stories you hear here more often than not, you don't hear in the mainstream media, and we love that because we like to beat the mainstream media whenever we can. We've got some stories that the mainstream media wasn't covering that we've got here today, so tune in for those. Let's see. I introduced our media mogul, Karen Hale. She is our producer and co-host on What in the World. She has a number of great podcasts in addition to What in the World on her site, newclevelandradio.net. So check that out. Find out how to download us either on Spotify or on your other podcasting platforms, or come and visit us on YouTube. We like to plug that. I shouldn't say occasionally, I normally have at least one photo to go with the stories. So it's always nice, we'll describe them for you if you're listening to us while you're out exercising or sitting at home doing nothing. Our listeners, probably the latter. But anyways, so please visit us on YouTube, follow us, like us, do all that other good stuff. The other voice in your ear is John DiNallo, our co-host, color commentator, and the host of What in the World of Sport with John DiNallo. Hey, John, how are you?
I'm pretty well, Paul and Karen. And hey, it's a new week. It's Tuesday, and I think we got a great show lined up.
I
Lost the sound.
Sound faded out there for a second, but I'm sure John said something really complimentary about me then, so I'll just
Well, yeah, kind of comes with the territory.
He says he has a box of chocolates for you for Valentine's Day.
Oh, okay.
You're dear to my heart, Paul. Dear to my heart.
There you go. Thank you, John. I appreciate that. John and I have known each other for a long time. That's how we can get away with some of the things we say on this show. So what do we have? I don't even, so many things are happening. It was such a big weekend with the Super Bowl. We're going to be talking about some Super Bowl stories you may not have heard about in the stream media. You're going to hear about them today on What in the World. So we've got that to talk about. We've got some a tall. This is another story for John. A tall walking hazard was seen at a women's professional golf tournament in Kenya. So we're going to be talking about that really strange tournament. A lost radio tower in Alabama. It was a big story this week. A wooden tower in France that made the news, and Erector Towers. John and I are part of the Erector set generation.
Of course.
We're going to talk a little bit about that and how it relates to the stories of this week. Living dinosaurs in England, Michigan, and Texas. Wait till you hear this. I've got this is a personal story for me as well. So we'll be talking about that. Underwear for your garden. Ooh, that's very, very popular story. Yeah, I know that. Sounds like a porn movie. Underwear in the garden. and why you shouldn't make fun of balloon animals. Okay, we're going to talk about balloon animals and their benefit to society.
Oh, okay.
Okay, all right.
I know. Yeah, that's what can I say? Plus, we've got some more odd news. We've got some world records. We've got trivia. Um, John's got a great unusual sport for us this week. And of course, as always, we finish the show with Bluff the co-host, everybody's favorite weird news show. So my voice sounds a little raspier than normal because I'm recovering from a bit of raspiness. I'm going to take a drink of water right now, and then let's see if we can get right to our stories.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. I may even clear my throat. Be ready. Okay. Wow. I hope that didn't blow out anybody's earbud. Oh, geez. I apologize for that, everybody. I can't turn my microphone off because it's too far away. Oh, wait. Today is Fat Tuesday, or as we call it in Cleveland, Tuesday. It's the it's the day before Ash Wednesday, or as John and I have a good friend by the name of Gus used to call it Hash Wednesday for a reason you can probably figure out yourself. This is Shrove Tuesday for the Catholics out there, the day before Ash Wednesday, which means the last day to party before the Lenten fasting season begins, which means that all of us good Catholics we're busy gorging ourselves today on punchkis. John, did you have a punchki today?
No, but we had some eclairs that were left over from the Super Bowl party. So,
Ah,
and we've had some cookies and so forth. So, yeah, before tomorrow, obviously, whatever we have, we're pretty much going to have a chance to consume. So,
Well, yeah, if you close your eyes, an eclair is close to a punchki. Put some powdered sugar in it. So for those not for those not in the know, a punchki is a giant jelly or cream-filled donut covered with powdered sugar. Deliciously disgusting, as I like to describe it. Especially if the filling is immediately gushing out into your hand with the first in every bite. Yeah. So yes, I of course we had some delivered from our favorite punchki establishment. Believe it or not, there are punchki establishments in Cleveland. Yeah, they have punchkis all year round, not just on Fat Tuesday. But anyways, so well, I had a point here. Oh yeah, so that's what everybody's doing. You're covered in excuse me,
powdered sugar.
covered in punchki dust today. That's what I'm coughing at, punchki dust. Super Bowl was this weekend, this past Sunday. We're not going to talk about the scores, who won, who lost, or the celebrities who were there. But we've got some news that wasn't covered as well by the mainstream media as it should have been. So we're going to take the responsibility for that. I made some notes on my paper here that I can't read here. So there were some wild people at the Super Bowl. None wilder than a former Clevelander, and I want to put his picture up here. John, I know, knows who we're talking about. I'm sure Karen does as well. Former Clevelander by the name of Travis Kelce.
Oh yes.
No. Yeah, Travis got a lot of attention because of his girlfriend this weekend. But that particular photo right there is a picture of Travis yelling at his coach. Somewhere that was about in the second quarter, I believe, John. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct, Paul. Yeah.
Now, this is typical in Cleveland. Okay. This is how you can tell that Travis Kelce grew up in Cleveland. This is the way we Clevelanders talk to our boss when we want to raise.
Do we really? Okay.
Yeah. So you could tell from that instance right there that Travis is a Cleveland boy. He and his brother. What's his brother's name, John?
Jason Kelsey.
Jason Kelsey. That's right.
Kelsey.
They were Cleveland Heights High School. So you've seen these guys. I think I have a photo of the two of them together. Okay. They look like your typical Cleveland guy. They don't look like football players. They look like the kind of guys that are at Cleveland Stadium on Sunday, not on the field, but in the dog pound.
It's a good comparison, Paul, for sure.
Exactly. 10 degrees below zero, John. No shirts on. They're painted from the top of their heads to their waist in orange paint. Their beer bellies probably have some brand of beer painted on them as well, screaming their heads off. They are true Clevelanders. That's what they would be doing. Now, I want to tip my hat to Travis because he is dating so far out of his league, it's not even funny. He's a Cleveland boy, okay? There are, no offense, Cleveland ladies, there aren't too many Taylor Swifts in Cleveland.
You are correct.
Swift, look at her. Now, I'm not going to put a picture up of her, but if you think about it, she doesn't look like she's ever had a job where at the end of her shift, before she could go home, she had to yell, okay, last call for beer and pierogies. Right?
Sure.
You're right.
She is not a Cleveland girl. That's so Travis is definitely dating far above his target range there. God bless him. Good for him. So the first thing I want to talk about that wasn't covered at the Super Bowl was UFOs. Now, this is the first merger of the Super Bowl and the paranormal. This happened during a commercial. We were talking about the commercials before the show began here. So this was a commercial. Might have been in the third quarter already when this commercial ran. Martin Scorsese, the director, was a star of it, and he's watching a video of a movie made by aliens called Hello Down There. Do you remember that, John?
I did catch that, but I wasn't able to get the whole effect of it. So I'm glad that you brought that to my attention.
Yeah. So the premise here is that extraterrestrials have landed on Earth. Excuse me, they're trying to get our attention, but they can't. And the reason why they can't is because we're too busy looking at our phones and our iPads, which is what Martin Scorsese is doing right here. So they're thinking this is why we never see aliens, is because we're busy looking at our iPad. I don't buy that because people are definitely looking at their cell phones, but they're also using them to take selfies. And aliens are just like humans. They would be photobombing every photo that we're taking. And we'd see them half the time, right, John?
Yeah, yes. So yeah. There is some validity to all this, Paul, for sure.
So we should have been photobombed to death by these aliens. So this is the first time for an alien appearance in the Super Bowl, unless you count Terry Bradshaw, who some people think is from another planet.
Oh, that's a very good one, Paul.
Yeah. So to get the humans' attention in this commercial, the aliens create a website with Squarespace, a website tool. Now, these are beings that have traveled hundreds of light years across space to arrive at Earth, and then they can't figure out how to make their own website. They have to use Squarespace. I don't buy that either. But Martin Scorsese, he's an Academy Award-winning director. He knows what he's doing, I guess.
Sure.
Yeah. So if aliens really are baffled by our technology, what we should do, alien comes up to you, show them your phone, and have them play Wordle. And boy, they'll be mystified. They'll be tied up for weeks playing Wordle. So anyways, Martin Scorsese, this was his commercial. He makes a cameo at the end, and he's stuck in traffic in New York City, and during an alien invasion. and he says to the cab driver, "I told you to take Broadway. This always happens," implying that I guess there's no aliens on Broadway to block traffic, which I don't buy that either. He's never seen the play Little Shop of Horrors, which had Audrey too, who was an alien plant from another
Right,
planet.
right. That's right, Paul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or cats. I think some of those cats were from another planet, but that's a different story. The other thing is, if this is a De Niro, I mean, if this is a Scorsese production, where was De Niro?
Yeah, that's a good question. You would think that he would surface somewhere.
He's
right?
in all of his stuff. Yeah,
So many of his films, sure.
My theory is that De Niro is holding out. He wants to play Bigfoot in the next commercial. Or maybe he wants to fight Bigfoot, like
he has high aspirations, Paul and Karen.
Yeah, Raging Bull versus Bigfoot would be the name of that movie.
There you go.
All right, so that was story number one. Story number two, John, something has happened in 3 out of the 4 times that Kansas City has appeared in the Super Bowl recently. What is it?
I know this, and now, unfortunately, I have forgotten it.
Okay, yeah. I'll tell you. I know I won't even ask Karen. The answer is there were streakers at the game. Believe it or not, almost every time Kansas City plays in the Super Bowl, someone streaks the game. So now, again, I don't know if not everybody was aware of this because they didn't show them, but there were actually 2 streakers during the Kansas City San Francisco game on Sunday.
Now, didn't they said on the TV they were partial streakers?
Right.
What did that mean?
We'll get to that. That's a very good question. That's the other reason why I wanted to bring up this story. So this happened in the third quarter. It was 3rd down. The Chiefs were in San Francisco territory. They were going for 3rd down, and one of the streakers ran across the field, made it all the way to the San Francisco 49ers sideline, where he was subdued, as they say. Here's a picture of him being subdued. So you can see him laying on the ground, another guy over him. The second streaker was tackled by a team of security staffers near the 10-yard line in the Chiefs end zone at the other end of the field. That would be this gentleman right here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. It was such a good tackle that the security guy made that the Chiefs actually offered him a half-game contract to play till the end. Their defense wasn't doing so hot for a while. So the game is still going on. This is why they didn't cut away. The referee stated that because the streakers did not impact the play, which was a 2-yard completion from May Holmes to receiver Hardman was the receiver, but it was short of the first down, so it was 4th down. So they ended up kicking the field goal. That was the one the 57-yard record field goal.
Right.
That put the score at 10-6. So there were a lot of things going on that called attention away from the streaker, which is why we're talking about it. So very little of this, no photos of the streakers made it to the air, but we just looked at 2 of the photos. But if you think about it, what would have happened. If you remember, the greatest streaking incident in the history of the Super Bowl was the famous Nipplegate, when Justin Timberlake and Janet Jackson were singing, and Justin Timberlake found Janet Jackson's bra to expose her breast that had a star over the nipple. And we're still talking about it 20 years later, like it's the biggest scandal in history. Yeah. So a streaker, a naked streaker at the Super Bowl, we'd be talking about it for the next 100 years. So, Karen, you are 100% correct. Tony Romo, CBS color commentator, not as good as our color commentator, by the way.
Thanks for the plug, guys. Appreciate it.
Tony Romo said that there was a partial streaker on the field, as Karen pointed out. I checked the rule book, and the rule book on streaking states, unless you're 100% naked, you cannot be called a streaker.
I would say the same thing.
I would agree with that. That's, I think, by definition. Yes, by definition.
Like being partially pregnant. You're either naked or you're not. That's it.
Sure.
So Sunday night marked the third time in history that the Chiefs, in the last 4 Super Bowl appearances by the Chiefs, that a streaker has run onto the field. I didn't know this. Okay. So this is one in, excuse me, in 2020, when the Chiefs beat the 49ers in Super Bowl 54. This happened. Now, all I have is her mugshot. This is Instagram model Kelly Kay. She ran onto the field and was caught by security before she could take her clothes off. Again, according to the rules, not a streaker. According to viewers, a big disappointment. I hate to be a sexist, but you know, that's what people are looking for. If they're looking for a streaker, they would prefer a female streaker. I think both men and women would agree that they'd rather see a female than a male. And this is a very pretty lady. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so there's her mug. Now, at Super Bowl 55, which was in Tampa in 2021, when the Chiefs played the Buccaneers and lost, Florida native Yuri Andrade, excuse me, put on some spandex. I'm going to put the photo up while I have a drink of water here so you can see him.
Oh, wow.
I knew you'd like that, Karen. Yeah. So this guy, a fairly well-built gentleman, he's wearing a pink spandex thong contraption.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the best I can call it. Doesn't show a whole lot, and I think we're grateful of that. So and it's promoting an X-rated internet channel. So he started running across the field, and naturally they tackled him and hauled him off. I'm not going to show you any more pictures of him. Again, not a streaker, according to the rules. So, but I didn't know. So now I didn't know that the Chiefs were so associated with streakers. So John, this is it. This is the reason why we want the Chiefs back in the Super Bowl on a regular basis, to see more streakers.
Yeah, there's a connection there, obviously. Yeah.
That's right. So streaking, by definition, refers to running naked in public, usually at a college. Believe it or not, by that definition, streaking at colleges began in 1804. 1804.
Wow.
Yeah. But in the United States, of course, at Washington College, which is now Washington and Lee University, where senior George William Crump was arrested for streaking through Lexington, Virginia, where the university is located. Get a load of this. This is the best part. Crump was suspended for the academic session, but later went on to become a U.S. congressman.
Of course. Yes. Makes sense.
Wow.
Makes perfect sense. Makes perfect sense. Okay. So that takes us to the heyday of streaking, when John and I were in college together in the early 1970s. So in June of 1973, the mainstream media reported on a streaking trend at Michigan State University in Lansing, Michigan, right up the road from us. Okay, so it starts to move down into Ohio. In December of 73, a graduate of Carleton College in Minnesota wrote that the term streaking was coined because, this is the Minnesota definition, nude students ran primarily during the winter months of January and February.
Oh.
And unless one appeared as a streak against the landscape, the Minnesota winter was triumphant and the streaker became a statue. So that's their definition of streaking. So 1974 was the peak year for streaking on U.S. college campuses, including John Carroll University, where John and I are proud graduates of. However, I looked everywhere, John, and I could not find records of streaking going on campus while we were there. But I know that it happened.
Well, I remember for certain that that was a trend for several weeks, actually, or even several months. Yeah, it was like a big deal.
Oh yeah, yeah,
it was a big deal.
Big deal. Especially a big deal for horny fraternity brothers. With few chances of dating, let's put it that way. So but I did find another one at Oberlin College. Now, Oberlin College is a very prestigious university to this day, one of the most liberal colleges in the United States. Well known for their music program, their jazz program. They had streakers, and I'm going to show you the news article right here. This is from the Oberlin Register.
A review, yeah.
Yeah, review, yeah. So this is the college paper, and up on the left-hand side, big headline, streakers here, shows a picture of a man and a woman, tastefully angled so you don't really see anything, but they are naked. And the article points out that it warns streakers that it's punishable by 30 days in jail or a $250 fine. Now that's a heck of a punishment for running naked across a college campus. 30 days in jail. So, but to point out how different times were, I want to direct your attention for those of you who are watching on YouTube, and I'm going to direct everybody else's attention to an article I will describe on the right-hand side. On the right-hand side, this is 1974, Oberlin College, the conference that they're in, the Ohio Athletic Conference, is asking Oberlin to ban women from competing in college sports. Today,
that's really odd.
Yeah. Today, women's sports is probably making, outside of football and basketball, more money than most men's sports.
Sure.
So unbelievable that not that long ago they were banning women's sports.
Yeah. It's a strange headline.
I know. I couldn't believe it when I read it. So anyway, so there we go. Streaking at the Super Bowl, only here on what in the world? What's the name of the show again?
What in the world with Paul Seaburn?
There you go. All right. Okay. Here's something that didn't happen at Super Bowl, but I bet you it's going to happen one of these days, as soon as it's held in Kenya. The magical Kenya Ladies Open European Golf Tournament was held this weekend in Kenya. And just as the leaders came on to the 18th green, the 18th fairway, for the final dramatic shot, this happened. A family of giraffes walked onto the hole.
Wow.
Not just two like we have here, a whole family of them. They're wandering around, they're chasing fans, they're eating leaves off the trees, and basically shut down the tournament for a while, because this is on a nature preserve, so the giraffes have priority over the humans. They excuse me, here's another photo of them here. Look at that. They're all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah. This the one player is trying to play through, and they're on the putting green, so she can't putt. Yeah. This is, they're walking along the green with them. Yeah, the mother and baby giraffe here.
Players look comfortable walking that close to them too.
It turns out, I didn't realize this once I looked deeper into the story. It turns out that they host this tournament annually, and it's well known for having the giraffe here. But this is the first time that they've really made a big deal out of it, and that it actually stopped it on the 18th hole. Very timely. In fact, they make such a big deal out of it. Here's the winner, player. Yeah, Shannon Tan. The trophy is the head of a giraffe, so obviously tastefully done in brass or whatever metal that is. So since it's on a wildlife preserve, the giraffes are allowed, but like in all other tournaments, no cheetahs.
Right.
Very good. Very good.
Well, that was all right. That was okay.
No cheating. Only course where instead of yelling 4, the players must do the Tarzan yell. Let people know.
Okay.
John Daly, the famous men's golfer, played there once, and he quit drinking for a month after that. So that's for the golfers out there who know who John Daly is. And I'm not going to explain it to everybody else. We'll move on to the next story. Police in Jasper, Alabama. Oh, I love this story. They're looking for a 200-foot AM radio tower, which was stolen overnight from the WJLX radio station. Here's a picture of it before it was stolen. 200 foot and not knocked down. It's standing up in the air. It was being used. People in the town knew that in Jasper, they knew that the radio tower was gone because all of a sudden nobody was arguing about politics or sports because no AM radio talk shows. How do you steal a 200-foot tower? You may be asking.
Yes, I'm just like confused. Explain.
It's easy. It's just like Martin Scorsese says. We're all looking at our cell phones. Nobody was paying attention, and people just walked in and stole it. Nobody knows. It's amazing. Nobody knows. And then where do you sell it? Once you cut it down and you somehow get it to where do you go? You go to a pawn shop?
Is there like a black market for radio towers?
Black market for radio towers. Yeah, good one, John.
Really?
Yeah, is that a radio tower you're trying to sell? No. It's an antique clothes dryer. My mom used to hang clothes on it.
Oh my gosh.
Or I thought of this excuse that I would try. I made it myself out of 100 Erector sets.
Yeah.
I was thinking maybe John and I are the only people, and Karen are the only people who remember Erector sets. John, did you
have well? Yeah, me and my brothers would play with the Erector set for sure.
Oh, that's right. You had brothers. That's right. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for sure. We did a lot with those. They're fun to work with. Yeah.
They are. I had one as well. I was not as mechanically inclined, so I believe it's still in the original box and may still be in the original plastic. So it's worth something.
I mean, when you look at this thing, I can't imagine taking it down, but they meant that they had to take it down fairly quickly for people not to notice it.
Yeah. I know. It's baffling. Everybody in Jasper and all the other places around there are baffled as to how this happened. There were lines connected to it. I mean, it's unbelievable. There was just no one there. It's out in the middle of nowhere. It's AM radio. It pretty much operates itself. So anyways, I did some research on Erector set. The Erector set actually date back to 1911. A guy by the name of Alfred Carlton Gilbert was riding on a train one day to New York City. Excuse me, to New York City, and he's looking out the window and he's seeing workers tearing down tracks and putting up new tracks to convert the trains to electric power. And he's watching girders going up and all this stuff. And he thought, boy, I bet you that'd be a fun toy for kids. So the guy is a magician, and he makes magic tricks. So he's not even in the toy business per se, but he uses that knowledge to build the first Erector set called the Erector Structural Seal and Electromechanical Builder Kit, which he labeled as educational, instructive, and amusing. Here's a picture of the first kit here. It doesn't look very amusing to me. It looks like hard work.
Yeah, really.
Yeah, that does.
Yeah, a lot of gears and screws and bolts and books you got to read and all kind of stuff here. But anyways, you end up with cool stuff like this.
Wow. Yeah.
Pictures of things that people built with Erector sets, like especially towers. I think that's the thing that I
yeah, right.
Yeah. So they went on sale in 1913. It was booming for a while, and then kids lost interest in it, and that was it. I growing up with two sisters, my sisters were baffled why anybody would want to play like this. It's like getting a Barbie and having to assemble it. Why would I do that?
I used to love watching my brother put things together.
Watching your brother put things
Well,
together.
hey, I'm much younger than my brothers, so they probably wouldn't have let me get close.
Oh, I see.
But
Okay.
I remember they built a Ferris wheel, and
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah. Mechanical, they were both AC. You could use AC power or batteries. You know, it was a really a cool thing. But you think about it, you know, what to equate it to Barbie, you know, kids do. Would girls really want to build their own Barbie? Would they want to build their own Barbie dream house? And if they did, how would the movie have been different if girls were building Barbie's dream house instead of buying it off the shelf? I don't know. Let's move on because it didn't go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So speaking of towers, this was a very popular story on Facebook. French guy, Richard Ploud is his name, spent 8 years building a 23-foot replica of the Eiffel Tower, 20-foot tall, 23-foot
Wow.
replica out of matchsticks. And he submitted it to the Guinness World Record people, and they turned him down because he used the wrong matchsticks. Talk about disappointment.
Wrong matchsticks. And
Yeah.
right or wrong.
Well, here's what happened. No, you know, it's he appealed, and they reversed the decision and awarded it to him because so many people were protesting. Number one, you know, it takes a long time to it took him 8 years to build it.
Wow.
You know, this is in France where there's a lot of cigarette smokers. It only took about 6 months to light 700,000 cigarettes with wood matches. But therein lies the problem. He did not light his own matches. What he did was he went to a local matchstick company who knew those still existed, and he asked them to sell him matches without the match head on it. So he didn't have to do the striking. And that's what got the Guinness people upset. But enough people protested, they gave him the award anyways. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like streaking. If it doesn't have a head, is it a match? No, it's not a match. It's a stick. So if he built a tower out of sticks, he would have got the record. But to say that it was out of matchstick, technically speaking, not a record. But he whined enough that they gave it to him.
Oh, okay. I see that. Wow.
I'm surprised, John, that the judges even knew what a matchstick was. Had he built it out of vape pens, they would have been all excited. But
right.
Who uses matchsticks anymore?
Yeah, no kidding. Something past in a respect.
Now, here's a this isn't a world record, but it's still pretty interesting. This is a farmer in Asia. He gets perfect sweet watermelons, and here's how he does it. He hangs them in women's underwear on his fence. So here's a picture of a melon growing inside of a very fancy lace thong. Karen's probably got a whole wardrobe.
Oh yeah, a whole wardrobe of those. Yeah.
So he says that the hanging them in the lace panties makes the green on the watermelon skin more uniform and keeps them off the wet ground where they can't rot. Which is even the most amazing part of all that is that his wife actually believes that that's why he's buying these things. And he also, here's another one, John.
Look at
God. He started growing his cucumber directly underneath the panty, and they've been pointing straight up lately. So, yeah, I know.
Yeah. Thanks for the horn on that one. That's a good one.
Yeah. So our local grocery store chain, Giant Eagle, has started carrying these in a special section they call Veggie Secret.
Hey.
This is the kind of thing that drives women crazy because that's exactly what's going to happen. This is going to get popular. Home stores and gardening centers are going to start selling women's underwear specifically to be used in the garden. And it's going to cost half as much as the women have to pay for it at the store.
You're
Right,
probably
Karen?
right.
Isn't that what happens?
Yep, you're right.
Yep. So, and the sizes, the sizes will be small, medium, large, Kardashian, J-Lo, Serena Williams. You can go on and on.
Wow.
I didn't want to go any further than that because we don't want to do any body shaming on the show. And they're beautiful panties, in my humble opinion. Okay, a couple of personal interest stories from me. So this was another very popular story on Facebook. British dog walker Denise Chamberlain is out walking around a pond. They call them a tarn in England. And she saw this creature. This is a non-native, never been seen in England, alligator snapping turtle. Doesn't belong in England at all. She's terrified that it's going to eat her dog or eat sheep or whatever else, a little kid. So she catches it. She uses a shopping cart, and she had 3 pairs of builder's gloves on her hand, and she went and she captured it. So now they took it to a vet. She took it to a vet, and they're trying to find a home for it, and also find out where it came from. And that's my question. Was this somebody's pet that escaped? Or my theory, King Charles was restocking the moat, and he put Prince Andrew in charge. And
Oh no.
find some good stuff to put in there. And Andrew, he's terrified that people are going to find out more about whatever it is he's going on. So he thought, nobody's going to cross the moat with these things in it.
Wow.
You better believe it.
That's quite a creature.
The scariest looking thing.
Very menacing looking creature. Very prehistoric.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, I have an affection for turtles because those were about the only pets my parents ever let us have. We probably had 30 turtles overall between myself and my sister that we know of. We may have had more or less. You never know when a turtle's alive or dead. 5 days later, they're still not moving around, but they could still be alive. I never saw a snapping turtle, though, until I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we were driving down a road in the wintertime, and there's this thing crossing the road, looked like an overturned garbage can. It was a snapping turtle. We pulled over and looked at it. Huge, massive snapping turtle. So I want to get it out of the road. I don't want it to get run over. I'm thinking, oh, how dangerous can it be? I grabbed what I thought was the rear end of this snapping turtle, and what looked like a giant sandworm from the movie Dune comes out the other end and practically takes my head off. This is a picture of the kind of
wow.
Wow.
Oh, they're unbelievably, the necks are unbelievably long. So I ended up, I had an ice scraper, like a wooden ice scraper in my car, and I used it to push the turtle to the edge of the road and point it towards a creek that I assumed it came from.
Wow.
Yeah. Next time I saw one, not in Ann Arbor, Michigan, believe it or not, in Houston, Texas, again, walking across a busy a highway. This was an 8-lane highway in northern Houston. Very busy highway, FM 1960, one of the busiest streets in the city. And here's this snapping turtle. I see it in front of my car. So again, Don and I pull over. Again, I'm in Houston. There's no ice scraper in my car. There's no need for ice scrapers. I found something. I might have had a shovel or something, and I kind of shoved it to the end of the edge of the street towards the bayou where it came from. And after that, I started carrying a box and a shovel or a stick or something. And I must have rescued 6 snapping turtle in the time we lived in Houston.
Wow.
Yeah, they just ended up, including one a block away from our house. We had a little creek that ran through our subdivision, and I actually rescued one around the house. So, that one, I was going to go get my dog. I thought maybe my dog could help me. I've got a Rottweiler, 100-pound Rottweiler. That dog looks at me and he says, "You're on your own. I saw Dune. I know what those do." So that was the end of that. Now, the other one, this is our wrap-up story here. World's largest balloon sculpture. This was unbelievable. This is in a mall in Japan. I'm sorry, in Hong Kong. This is a mall in Hong Kong. The Guinness World Record officials measured this. This is a 137-foot long balloon dragon. So it's a dragon made of, I think, 38,000 biodegradable inflated rubber balloons. The 137 feet, that's longer than 2 bowling alleys end to end. Balloons were assembled by 60 people, balloon experts and students who were working for them. And the dragon is on display until the end of the month, which the people at the mall are happy, because as long as this giant balloon sculpture is there, the sporting goods stores are not allowed to be open because they can't sell any bows and arrows, and knitting stores, knitting needles.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Now, unbelievable. Most American tourists, that are there, the only thing they've ever seen is a balloon poodle, or some of the balloon animals that the clowns make in the United States. That's people associate balloon animals with clowns. The first person to make a balloon animal, believe it or not, was a guy by the name of Herman Bonnert in Pennsylvania. Another magician. We had another magician story here. 1939, he became the first balloon twister when he figured out how to twist balloons and displayed it at a magician's convention. So the balloons that they normally use are those big, long, skinny ones that are 2 inches in diameter, and they can inflate to 60 inches, which is 5 feet long. That's a long balloon. Yeah, the long balloon. And most people think of them that I have a picture of them here. They make a sword or something easy. I used to do this. I tried this one. I was really good at it. I was good at snake skins, with the skin that came off. I was good. I was good at snakes that got caught by snapping turtles.
Snapping turtles gets around that snapping turtle. Yeah.
So I love this story because while I was in Houston, I worked for a mag. Now here's the typical balloon animals that most people are associated with. These are it's actually an art. It's an art and a craft when it's done well. And I worked for a magazine called Young Entrepreneurs, and I used to interview kids in grade school and high school that had really fun jobs that they started themselves. I interviewed kids that were making 6 figures while they were in high school.
Wow.
So this particular young girl was in Houston, and she was in grade school, and she was a balloon twister. I thought, well, how much money can she make? I talked to her mother. Her mother said, she wanted to babysit. And I said, well, let's try this first. So she would take her bag of balloons and she would go to a Mexican restaurant, and she'd go from table to table, and she would ask for donations to make a balloon animal. Instead, she didn't have a set fee. A smart little girl. People would end, if she said $5, and if all they had was a 10, they'd want change. If she said, I'll take a donation and all they have is a 10, they'll give her a 10. She said she made like 3 times as much as she would make babysitting. Plus, they always got at least the free dinner for both of them, often coupons and other things, because they were so entertaining.
Wow.
I thought that was the coolest thing.
Sure.
Be careful when you make fun of things, because there's always a story behind it. And there's a story behind balloon twisting. It has a fabulous history in the magic world, and it could be a great job. John, good retirement job for you, maybe.
Maybe I should think about that. I'll have to look into it.
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Right, exactly. Sure. Okay.
Well, we know what John's other retirement job is, and that is hosting What in the World of Sports with John DiNallo. Every week, I ask John, my old buddy, who knows more about sports than anybody that I associate with. I ask him, John, find us a sport that fits with the theme of What in the World. real sport, sometimes strange, always funny. John always manages to find a great one. And I'm gonna turn it over to you and give my voice a rest here and line
Okay.
up your photos. So go ahead, John.
Sounds good. We want to give props to Karen on this one because Karen actually found this sport, through her travels, and it's a very interesting sport. And you may have heard of it before. So the sport this week is dog surfing. That's right, dogs on little surfboards riding the waves, hanging 20, and calling each other dudes. Now, we're not sure about the last one, but dog surfing, and this is where dogs actually ride waves on little surfboards, bodyboards, skimboards, and windsurf boards, began back in the early 1920s. And then it gained popularity with the 1930 silent film On the Waves in Waikiki, when Philip K. Zanya and his terrier named Nighthawk surfed together on a wooden surfboard. So going back almost 100 years,
Wow.
at least in terms of film history, in 1944, National Geographic featured a surfing dog named Rusty, and in the 1970s, Dave Chalmers and his surfing terrier mix named Max were featured in several surfing movies and also appeared on the popular TV show Amazing Animals.
Wow.
Dogs actually found out how much fun it was. Dog surfing became popular in surfing meccas like Del Mar, California, Imperial Beach, California, and Jupiter Beach, Florida, where dogs learned to hang 10 on surfboards or bodyboards, either alone or with a human on board. Once they moved up to windsurfing and body surfing, it wasn't long before dog surfing competitions popped up everywhere. In these events, judges score a dog's certainty on the board, the size of the wave that they're riding on, and then also how long they ride in terms of ride length. For example, at Imperial Beach, California, the Lowe's Coronado Bay Resort Surf Dog Competition is recognized as the largest dog surfing competition in the United States. The first competition was held in 2006, and by 2011, over 50 dogs participated in events for small dogs, large dogs, and tandem dogs. In San Diego, the San Diego Humane Society holds the prestigious Imperial Beach Dog Surfing Competition, while Huntington Beach, California, hosts the Surf City Surf Dog Competition. The Surfing Dog Championship is held each March in Noosa, Australia, and is known worldwide for its heavy pounding surf. So if a dog is able to surf, there, that dog is really a star.
And these photos, a lot of these photos show dogs with on really big waves. So you're right
yes.
about that.
Oh,
Yeah.
exactly. So in 2021, the winner of this event was a pug named Pickles. Lastly, the World Dog Surfing Championship, ARE, annually is held in Pacifica, North California.
Oh, look at this one. Oh,
Oh, that's
Going for style points. Yeah.
yeah.
But of all the dog surfing events, the most unique dog surfing event is tandem surfing, where two or more dogs surf together on one surfboard. Now, believe it or not, in June of 2012, a Guinness World Record was set when, get ready for this, 18 dogs were photographed at the same time on one surfboard.
Wow.
Think of
Amazing. Here's a picture of it right here. Both
Well,
big and small dogs. Yeah.
Well, what is amazing though is to get dogs to sit that long. Okay, that many dogs to sit
Yeah.
that long in one spot.
Out
So
sniffing each other.
well, yeah, right. So in closing, dogs love the water and they love to compete. So it's no surprise dog surfing is a popular sport. There is still time for the Beach Boys to immortalize it with a song called Little Surfer Good Girl.
Oh, oh, they are so cute.
Yes, they are. Little
It's very
good
unique. I mean,
girl.
unique sport, right? I mean, it really is.
Yeah, no kidding. That's wild. I mean, it's and the dogs look like they're having fun, according to the photos at least. And there were
Sure.
quite a few different dogs in those photos. So I can see where it would be popular, especially in Hawaii and other surf meccas.
Sure.
And the nice thing about it, at least in this world record picture, they all seem to be wearing some sort of a life jacket. So the
Oh
dogs,
yeah,
so the
Oh, right,
dogs
yeah.
are safe.
Sure.
Yeah.
Safety
Yeah.
first. Safety first.
yeah. The owners, they definitely care about their dogs there. So that's another good one there. Uh, do you think a sport like this would catch on in Cleveland, Karen?
Uh, do we have any place to really surf in Cleveland?
Good, good point. Good point. Although some people claim that they're surfing in on Lake Erie,
Okay.
those days are few and far between. However, John, I don't know if you remember this, but we competed in while we were in college in a sport very similar to this. Some people call it the Cleveland version of dog surfing, and that would be dog skiing. Do you remember that on a
No,
snowy day
I
when
tell
we
you, no,
wanted
you have to
what?
refresh my memory on this one, Paul. I'm drawing a blank.
Yeah, we were. It was one of those days when nobody was streaking, and we needed something to do. Uh, so we decided to try dog skiing, and we found a couple of nice stray dogs near our college, and you know, we found a hill. We found a hill. Uh, John and I went off on our own direction in training our dogs. So here's a picture of me with my dog. I I really went whole hog. I got the dog
Oh,
his own skis and a hat and a scarf. And I thought, boy, this is great. I'll get all the fraternity brothers will be interested in participating in dog skiing with me. John, on the other hand, John is much smarter than I am. And John didn't waste his time getting the dog all dressed up and all this stuff and ski boots and everything. John instead taught his dog how to pull. Well, I lost it here. There it is. John taught his dog how to pull a keg of beer up a hill, up a
Now
snow.
I remember. Now it comes back to me.
There
There you
you
go.
go. Everybody followed John and his dog up the hill to the top of the hill where the keg of beer was. They didn't care about me and my skiing dog. Rest of the story. That was another fun party that we had while in our college days.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that to my attention again. I had forgotten about that, Paul.
Dog skiing, yeah. Some
You
things
did
are
all the
best
work with
left.
the skiing dog, and I get away with this dog pulling the keg, which was obviously the prize at the end.
Oh, but obviously a much more popular sport for a college than dog
Oh,
skiing.
sure.
So,
yeah. Love it.
all right. Well, great sport, John, as always. Thank you so much for putting that together.
You're very welcome,
And
Paul. Karen. Thanks.
let's see. According to our schedule, that's the end of What in the World of Sports, which means it's time for Bluff the Co-host, everybody's favorite weird news game. That means it's time to pull that down and take a look at us here. Okay, Bluff the Co-host. It's a simple game. We have three stories similar to the ones I've been telling all afternoon. One big difference: those stories were real. The stories in Bluff the Co-host may be real, they may be a bluff. It's up to Karen, John, and those of you playing at home to decide real or bluff. Gambling is allowed, so place your bet. John and Karen, hands on the buzzers, and let's get right to story number one. We see plenty of stories of people complaining about finding the heads of frogs or snakes in their bags of mixed salad greens. But what about people complaining that they didn't get enough snake heads. That's what's happening in Bangkok, Thailand, where customers began counting the number of snake heads in each bag of a popular frozen dinner and realized they didn't have the 12 snake heads in every meal as advertised. The snake heads are deep fried and fully cooked, and it doesn't make a good adult meal. But lately, the number has been down to 8 or 9 while the price has gone up. The company has apologized and is now offering coupons for 10% off of dinners made with 10% off of 12 snakes. Okay, so company in Thailand is cheating their customers by not putting 12 snakes in a dinner that advertises 12 snakes in it, snake heads in every dinner. Real or bluff? What do you say, Karen?
I don't want to eat snakeheads. It sounds absolutely disgusting. But we're talking about Thailand, so I'm going to say it's real.
Oh, Karen says it's real. Okay. All right. John, how about you?
Yeah, it's obviously very strange. Strange to us as Westerners, obviously, but it must be some kind of staple for the people of Thailand. But it's tough all over, and I can see where a company would want to try to get away with that. And even though it's false advertising, and you're gypping the customer, so to speak, I could see a company doing that. So I'm going to say it's real, also.
Wow. Okay. So both Karen and John say that, excuse me, a company cutting back on snakeheads in their snakehead dinners is a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say that's a bluff. Sorry about that.
Wait,
That story.
well, go ahead.
That story was inspired by a friend of mine from high school, and now a new friend of the show, Jim, who currently lives in Indonesia, and he was on vacation in Thailand, and he was showing pictures of all the stuff that they eat, including giant spiders, deep fried spiders. And I thought, oh, what's the most disgusting thing I could think of? And that was it. So,
Wow.
all right. Well, that means the score is 0-0, but still time for both John and Karen to pick up the pace and win the game. So, hands on the buzzer. Let's get to story number 2. If you believe the movies, the sexiest accent in the world is the French accent, usually heard through a cloud of cigarette smoke. However, a new survey asked people to listen to accents and pick out the sexiest and most romantic, and the winner was not French, nor Spanish, nor Irish, nor even American. It was Italian. That's right. The rolling R's give the Italian language a romantic musical quality, even when it's spoken by a godfather who is about to have you bumped off. Could it be that hearing sexy words like pepperoni, mozzarella, and primavera are the real reason why we love pizza and Italian food so much? Mamma mia.
Oh,
John, what do you say, real or bluff?
Well, this is close to my heart, obviously. Okay, very close to my heart, and I'm going to say it's real.
John says it's John's hoping it's real. Do you think John's Italian?
Well, it's yeah. I mean, I said it's close to my heart or close to my stomach or whatever. But yeah, I'm going to say it's real.
John says the most romantic accent is Italian. That's real. Karen, how about you?
well, it is a Romance language, so it sounds real. It's not my favorite accent. I like the Australian accent. I think that's pretty darn neat.
Oh yeah,
But
yeah.
but I am going to agree with John because so many people think of Italian as being romantic.
Romantic. Ah, okay. So
And look at John. He's the most romantic guy on this.
there you go. That's right. Yeah. Joy John has a full dance card tomorrow on Valentine's. So, the perfect example. So let's see. That's Karen and John both say that Italian is the most romantic language. That's a real story. Let's check with the judges, and the judges say, congratulations. That is a
All right,
true
Karen, way to
story.
go.
And
All right,
then a
very
double
good.
congratulations to John for having such a sexy voice.
Yeah, that's right.
No extra points, John, but
That's okay. That's all right. I'm just glad that we got the victory. That's good.
there you go. Okay. All right. Well, let's get so scores tied 1-1. Points are doubled in round number 3. Let's get right to it. The hot new television show on Netflix in South Korea is called Dakgangjong, which is Korean for sweet, crispy fried chicken pieces or chicken nuggets. No, it's not a cooking show. Dakgangjong is about a company president whose daughter mistakes a new machine for a medical device and accidentally turns herself into a chicken nugget. As her father and her boyfriend work together to turn her back into a human, they discover unexpected secrets about the machine, chicken nuggets, hungry Koreans, and themselves. If this comedy catches on in Seoul, Netflix hopes to bring a version to American audiences who love chicken nuggets and will watch anything. Okay, so Netflix show in South Korea called Chris Chicken Nuggets about a girl who gets turned into a chicken nugget and her father and boyfriend try to turn her back into a human. Real or bluff? Karen?
Oh, I want this to be a bluff so badly because it just sounds the most ridiculous thing in the world. But I'm going to say it's real.
Okay, Karen says it's real. John, how about you?
Well, I have some of the same logic that Karen has on this. This is really far-fetched. Okay, very far-fetched. But I'm going to say that it's so far-fetched, I pray that it's not real.
So are you saying it's real or a bluff?
I'm saying it's a bluff.
John says it's a bluff. Okay, I just want to make sure. So John says it's a bluff. Karen says it's real, although she prays it's a bluff.
Right.
Check with the judges. The judges say, congratulations, Karen. That is definitely a
that is
real
horrible.
sitcom. Yes, Netflix in South Korea. I couldn't believe it when I
the
saw
heroin becomes a chicken nugget?
a chicken nugget.
What kind
Yeah,
of storyline can you have with that?
I don't know. Well, plenty. Obviously, they got a full season of it ordered on Netflix. They're they're hoping it's a big runaway hit. Like the big bang, the big nugget. I don't know.
No, it won't be anything like the Big Bang. No.
Oh, you have to do us a favor. You have to do a follow-up on this in a couple months, okay, to see where it stands, okay?
By all means, we will be closely watching whatever that show is called. Nugget show, yeah. All right, well, that means we've reached the end of another episode of What in the World. I want to thank our media mogul co-host and producer, Karen Hale. Thank you, Karen, for everything you do for our show. Thank you for all of the podcasts that you have on newclevelandradio.net. And also, Karen, by the way, is our sponsor at Yes I Can Coaching with Karen. So by all means, visit that. If you need any kind of coaching help, boy, she is the perfect person for the job. Also, I want to thank, as always, my old buddy John DiNallo for being a good sport, for putting up with all that he puts up with, but also providing us with some great color commentary and insights and trivia. So, John, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Paul and Karen, for the kind words, and looking forward to another great show next week. I'm sure we'll have a show that will even be better than this one.
Well, it's, as I always say, that bar isn't very high. So,
you know what? John's going to be in Florida, so he might find
that's right. Yeah, I think Yeah, John will be doing a remote.
Yeah,
you look for him.
Yeah, we'll be it's a little bit of a change there, but yes.
Yeah, well, tomorrow John will be using his romantic voice on Valentine's Day, as well as he'll be using it on the priest at Ash Wednesday services too. I'm afraid.
It's quite a day tomorrow. It's quite
right.
quite a day.
Don't make the ashes messy, Fada. All right. Well, I hope everybody. Oh, and I also have to thank everybody out there, especially doubly this week. Number one, for tuning in to What in the World. Without you, we wouldn't do the show. You're the reason why. We hope you have as much fun listening as we do putting it together. That's the main reason why we do it. I also want to apologize to everybody for my raspy voice and occasionally coughing in your ear. I am hoping I'll be out of this mode of illness by next week. I'll load up on all the vitamin C and all the other stuff that you're supposed to do. But anyways, thank you so much. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Miriam, I wanted to do a shout out to her at the beginning. She's a longtime fan of the show. I always hear from her either before or after the show. So I want to thank you for your support, and everybody else who sends us stories or just sends us encouragement, likes. We love to see for all of that. So send it to newclevelandradio.net. Send it to me on Facebook. On that note, I think I am going to turn my voice off for the rest of the day, and the rest of us can go on to the rest of Fat Tuesday. Have a punchki if you're in Cleveland, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
And I just want to mention the Panther City lacrosse team.
Oh,
they
that's right.
won this past week.
They did. That's right.
On Friday, I will be interviewing one of their teammates who went to OSU. So
no kidding. Someone from somebody
Ohio.
from Ohio State
Yes.
playing professional lacrosse. That's pretty interesting. Well, tune into that. You get all the details at newclevelandradio.net. Karen will have that posted for you. Great. All kind of great stuff.
Enjoy your day, everybody.